This week on Arizona Illustrated, a daughter's look back.
My grandparents, Winnie and Carl, sent my dad west to a boarding school in Tucson for kids with his kind of chronic illness.
28 days of Black history.
Growing up around Caucasians in rural areas, like Black history isn't on the to-do list or to learn about list every day.
And Taco Sauce, the band.
Hi, we're Taco Sauce, and we are your entertainment for this evening.
Welcome to Arizona Illustrated. I'm Tom McNamara. This week we bring you another in our Arizona Addicted series on the opioid epidemic in southern Arizona. Arizona Illustrated producer Vanessa Barchfield shares a personal story about her father and his life.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Rich, what's going on today?
Well, not too much. You guys came over and we had a nice time.
You've been having a relaxing day, huh?
Skating ring and
the skating ring?
Rink.
When my dad died, he left artifacts of himself behind.
And you guys are going back to Benson in a little while.
Is that right?
Can't wait.
Home videos,
Hardly wait.
What's your rush?
No, I'm in no rush. I'm staying here.
voicemails I keep saved on my phone.
Here's Vanessa.
Oh, Vanessa.
Hey, Vanessa.
Vanessa, what would you like?
When you get the enchiladas, can you get a can of Folgers coffee?
I've been parsing through them,
Okay.
dusting them off and piecing them back together, like I'm on some sort of archaeological dig.
Butter, cheese, and barter.
Vanessa. Hey, Dad, and well.
This was one of the last messages he left me.
How was your trip to Tulum? I want to hear all about it.
He was just shy of his 70th birthday, and his dying at that age wasn't actually as remarkable as the fact that he lived that long.
Anyway, I love you. Bye-bye, honey.
Here's my dad, Richard Donald Barchfield. His family called him Dick.
He was a very sweet, beguiling little boy with a tender soul.
That's his oldest sister, Nancy.
Oh, I thought he was fabulous. I was 7, and he was like my little baby.
He was my grandparents' 4th child, the youngest of the family. They lived in this big, beautiful house in Chatham, New Jersey. There were summers at their beach home, excursions to Manhattan. It was a life of privilege. There was a problem, though. From early on, my dad had a difficult time just breathing.
I think it was distressing for all of us, of course. My parents did everything they could to try and find him medical help, including flying down to Biloxi, Mississippi, to see a doctor who was renowned for all the things he could do for asthmatics. But nothing much changed.
After that, my grandparents, Winnie and Carl, decided that the cold New Jersey air was part of the problem. They sent my dad west to a boarding school in Tucson for kids with his kind of chronic illness.
I believe when they sent him out here, he weighed 37 pounds. He looked like a survivor from a concentration camp. Just really, really, really pathetically thin.
There are a few fragments from those years in boarding school that my dad would retell throughout his life, like tasting enchiladas for the first time, and field trips to downtown Tucson when Congress was lined with department stores. He settled in nicely to his new desert home, other than the loneliness. Eventually, my grandparents moved the whole family to Tucson to reunite with my dad, now an adolescent. It seemed like the Arizona plan had worked. His health did get a lot better. He still carried inhalers, but as the 50s became the 60s, he lived a pretty normal teenage boy life. Girls, pot. One day in his early 20s, he saw a photo of this woman. He always said he knew immediately they were going to be married. And it turned out my dad was right. They had a bunch of adventures together.
They had that nice house on Croydon. Then, of course, you girls were born, and that was fabulous. Really fabulous for everybody.
You know what? I had a teddy bear that looked a lot like that when I was little.
My sister Jenny came along first.
Actually, just like my teddy.
Then me.
Vanessa, did you get any?
A few of my friends grew up with distant, emotionally unavailable fathers. I did not.
Here we are today
My dad played with us,
on this beautiful Sunday afternoon.
would pet our heads through entire
with all
movies.
The girls out in the backyard playing. There's Jenny.
Tried fruitlessly to imbue his daughters with his great love of baseball. My dad was an engineer on Amtrak, and when we got to go on train rides with him, I felt like I was the child of a rock star. Now, this profession was probably not ideal for someone with bad lungs, but he loved working on the railroad. Maybe it was those big open-air skies that made him feel like he could finally breathe.
Certainly is a magnificent area. Hold your book up and let me see.
Look at this action show.
The two sisters here.
Oh, you have to play with me, baby.
Hey, baby. Oh, God. I think I'd like what Bitsy's got.
What does he say? A beer?
A beer. Thanks, man. Let's see. There she is.
One day when I was 7, our parents sat us down and broke the news. They were getting divorced.
He told me, you just put your arms around each other and cried. I've never forgotten that. And he didn't either.
My dad moved to a small town in West Texas, which was connected to Tucson by train, but separated by a solid 10 hours. Looking back, it seems like more broke than just his marriage during this second forced exile of his life.
He'd go through periods where he'd have sort of attacks. He'd be pretty bad. And as the years went on, it got worse and worse.
His doctors pumped him with steroids to bring him some relief. His body swelled, and he took a disability from the railroad. When Jenny and I visited him in West Texas, he would do his best to take us on adventures. One summer, when I was about 12, we boarded a cross-country train for Chicago. His breathing grew increasingly strained as the train traveled east. When we arrived in St. Louis, paramedics met us at the train station and darted him off to the emergency room. That was when I learned what DNR stands for, and was the first time I was confronted with the possibility of my dad's death.
Hey, Vanessa, it's your dad. And why don't you give a call?
Remarkably, my dad lived for another 25 years after that trip.
Mention to you, I really enjoyed the Vanessa Barchfield Metro show. Anyway, I love you, dear, and I'll talk to you soon. Right, bye-bye.
He moved back to Arizona, and once again, his breathing improved in the dry desert air. He became an obsessive amateur astronomer, would spend nights gazing up into the cosmos. He got married again. His wife, who cared for him with incredible devotion until his last breath, told me that when they got together, he had a condition that afflicted him even more than his bad lungs. She said she could barely touch him without his shuddering and agony from the pain that coursed through his body, an apparent result of the years he spent pumped with steroids. He needed relief. I don't remember when my sister and I learned of his use of OxyContin. There was no big reveal. It just slowly permeated our understanding of our dad's reality. A reality that revolved around treatment of his now myriad health conditions and deteriorating body.
I sure hope I get her. And then will you play?
Now I know that my dad had been on Oxy since the early 2000s, long before we'd heard of Purdue Pharma or an opioid crisis. In about 2013, I remember my dad calling me manic after the DEA shut down his pain doctor for overprescribing the drug. He was convinced he'd be thrown into withdrawal. I imagined him in that scene from the Basketball Diaries. He didn't go into withdrawal then. A new doctor tapered him down to a lower dose, and he stayed on Oxy for the rest of his life.
Vanessa, did you like the parade?
He had a textbook case of addiction to OxyContin, a drug that left so many people's lives in ruins. For my dad, though, I'm convinced that his body would have crumbled far sooner without that drug. In the context of crushing pain, Oxy made everyday life bearable for him. I don't think I'll ever get used to the fact that he's gone.
Hey, Venice, Dad,
I'd like to think, though, that he's soaring past stars and planets and solar systems. Cosmic dust in the beautiful outer regions of space that always called out to him.
give a call. I'll be here. Love you both. Bye-bye.
With our ongoing coverage, Arizona Public Media will explore the solutions, stories, and science behind the opioid crisis in southern Arizona. Arizona Addicted will be presented here on Arizona Illustrated and across all of AZPM. Look for coverage on PBS 6, NPR 89.1, and azpm.org. Tucson has long been known as a hotbed of independent and alternative music, but one local band is shaking things up. They are Taco Sauce, voted Best Punk Band by readers of the Tucson Weekly for the past 2 years. But their music is a rich mix of sound that defies genre.
When did I first hear about Taco Sauce? Probably about a year and a half ago. And it was just like this band that came out onto the scene. I'm like, who is this? So I was like, huh, I could see myself playing in this band.
Wait. No? Okay, hi, we're Taco Sauce, and we are your entertainment for this evening.
I started playing guitar at about like 14 or 15, and mainly just like acoustic guitar. It wasn't until probably like 3 or so years ago that I started trying to play electric guitar again and like gaining all of the like very difficult skills you need to be like a proficient and like technically skilled electric guitarist. I'd always wanted to do like a girl punk, like riot girl punk band, but it was hard for me to find like a format that would work for me. I had heard about Izzy and I had known she played bass, so I like hit her up on Instagram and was like, hey, that's cool, you play bass. Like I'm actually trying to start like a girl band, like you wanna come jam? Yeah, New Year's Day 2018. And she showed me what she had, we jammed a little bit,
things started working. And immediately I noticed we had like pretty strong musical chemistry.
It just settled into it and started working on music and started playing shows, and it just kind of like blew up pretty quickly. It kind of gave me a space to like explore these other very like femme brown girl centric ideas that like are difficult to express in other platforms, and every time I saw like another woman respond to that and be yes, that's what I'm feeling, like I'm glad somebody said this, I was like, okay, this is working, let's keep kind of like exploring these ideas. And it was really easy to like aim towards like very like political social ideas from there on.
They're definitely bringing something new to Tucson. With taco sauce, it's its own genre, and it doesn't stay in one style. Like, it's not punk, it's not rock and roll, it's not Latinx, it's all of these things combined and created.
It's nice because I don't feel like we've been like pigeonholed into like a certain genre or a certain kind of sound. A band that inspired that in me was Queen. They all came together, and Brian May was like this like metalhead, and then like Freddie Mercury liked opera, and so they all kind of came together and you know, just did what they felt like playing and played what they felt like playing, and that's how I kind of feel about this band. I've pretty much listened to like rock and roll my whole life. When I was like 13, 14, getting into like the New York Dolls and T-Rex and stuff, like the fashion really spoke to me. It's all part of like the artistry of rock and roll. I don't think of rock and roll as just like musical notes, you know. It's like the culture, the attitude, and everything.
If I like go out to a show, I'm gonna wear like my coolest outfits. I'm not gonna, so it's like if I'm gonna go on stage for my own show and be like, I'm gonna put on my punk hat now and dress like grungy, like that's not me, you know? So it's like, no, like I am super femme, I am super like fashion forward. I'm gonna be me and even more elevated on stage, you know, like, and it has gotten more elevated. Like we're kind of at the point where we wear like sparkly underwear and nothing else on stage sometimes. Like at our Halloween show, I think that's pretty much what we all wore. And it's because that's like who we are and like who we want to be. And so I think that is still punk. We're doing exactly what we want to be doing. It's just, you know, not exactly what you're used to seeing.
I'm yours. Screw you.
When I think about like not wearing a lot of clothes on stage, I don't think about like looking sexy. I think about like being shocking and like Lady Gaga, you know? I want to be able to be as feminine as I want to be and still be taken seriously as a musician. And I kind of want to subvert the idea that in order to be taken seriously as a rock musician, that women have to not care about what they look like, or not wear too much makeup, or dress in a way that's not too feminine.
When I'm behind the drums of any kind while I am serving looks, I feel the most comfortable in my own skin. Within the past 2 years, I've been really bringing more thoughtfulness to what I wear, how I present myself, all those different things, especially being a trans woman. I have to definitely consider all of the things I do up until a performance. And it's most recently when coming out that I've been able to express myself fully. The missing component where I am now is the most powerful for me.
Yowie, everyone.
Like what you see on Arizona Illustrated? Visit our webpage at azpm.org to watch and share stories from this and previous episodes. And like us on Facebook, where you can watch stories, comment, and share your own story ideas. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, where we share photos and links about the show and what's happening in our community.
Tucson artist and history buff J.R. Harrison has his own take on the cultural icons and unique moments that make up some of Black history. And he expresses it through photographs that feature him.
Turn your head.
What is that, aloe vera?
No, it's lotion, so that way makeup goes on smoother.
It's burning my skin.
All right, now put your head all the way back and close your eyes like real softly so you don't have any creases.
I grew up in Wichita City, Arizona. It's about an hour and a half south of Tucson. I didn't really communicate with many Black people. What is that thing?
It's a sponge to get the foundation on. Sorry.
I feel like it's a cat's tongue just licking my face.
No.
Yeah, everyone likes a cat's tongue though, really, huh? Yeah. Like everyone's like... Growing up around Caucasians in rural areas, like Black history isn't on the to-do list or to learn about list every day. Black history to me, I didn't learn until I went to college. I had a minor in Africana studies. Black history is still something that, you know, America probably should learn about. You know, Black culture is huge. Right now we're at Generation Cool, you know, one of America's premier 80s and 90s vintage pop culture boutique. Me and Slabby started it about 5 years ago. I remember it like it's yesterday. It all happened because me and actually Slabby had given me this White Men Can't Jump like shirt. And I had just gotten, they had just retroed the White Men Can't Jump David Robinson shoes. And I was like, man, this is cool. I had like an Ice Cube shirt. I had a Usain Bolt like track jersey. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna do a little Black history. 28 Days of Black History. And back then it was just, I would just show pictures of the outfits. I started realizing like, yo, people actually want to see me in it and like me make a fool of myself and make light of situations.
Yo, this is Jazzy Jeff. And how did I get my starter hat to look like this? The Jazzy Jeff breakdown. First you grab the hat, then you grip the hat.
This is history that you're not going to learn in textbooks.
Make sure it's a starter hat.
Yo, Professor, how does Mike defy gravity? Do you know?
That Spike Lee hat, that's probably one of the items that I had to go through extreme like connections. Having the shop helps me get these connections to get some of these costumes. I had to get those glasses too, which at the time was a lot of money. That was $279 for glasses to get those exact. Those are the exact ones that he wore, you know, exact model that Spike Lee wore in that picture. And that's, you know, I have to make it exactly like, you know, Spike Lee did it. Before I know it, I was like buying, you know, $500 outfits and stuff like that. It's very expensive, but it used to be very cheap.
Preparing JR for his Black History Month celebration tribute.
Does that look creepy enough?
I think it's really cool. It's fun. Something to look forward to every day throughout the month of February. When it ends, it's kind of sad.
Looks kind of fire.
He always provides some kind of like brief little history paragraph, you know, who the person was, what they did. It gives you a little bit of a lesson, but something to also kind of laugh about.
God, you look just like him. It's like insane.
Okay.
Yeah, you look just like him.
For it to be criteria for me, you have to be an influence in my life. 2 is like, can I get the costumes to make a great black cosplay type? Is that such a word, black cosplay? Why does it not look like Dennis that much? Is it more like a side angle that they're shooting at?
No, you look like him.
You think?
Yeah, on camera you look like him.
It's been like 2 to 3 years now that I've been helping him. The quality of it really stepped up, and so this year, like, we just had to keep raising the bar. I learned a lot about Black history, and just from being JR's friend, I've learned a lot about Black culture, past hip-hop, and past what we see day to day. JR looks ridiculous, but he pulls it off so well.
Dennis Rodman to me was very fun. He was always been an influence to me. He's the first basketball player to show individualism with his hair and his antics and his piercings and his tattoos. Like, let's be real, 1994 and 1990, that wasn't really something you've seen in the NBA at that time. Go back to the last one. I like that one. That's good. When I get into their uniform, you do transform into them somewhat. Yes, when I become Prince, I was like, and I walk the streets as Prince, I'm like, wow. If I'm walking the streets as Prince and everyone's loving me and like, man, that's great, man, you're Prince, and taking pictures with me, I was like, imagine what it was like to be Prince. I'm a little jealous sometimes. When I was Prince, I'm like, man, I should have been Prince. It's fun and informative. So I want you to look at it and I want you to be like, wow, that was fun. That's what I want you to think of it. And also, I want you to know about the actual person that we're depicting, because it is Black history.
Thank you for joining us here on Arizona Illustrated. Here's a sneak peek at a story we're working on.
My name is Rajesh Khanna. I'm a professor of pharmacology and neuroscience here in the College of Medicine. My lab is studying chronic pain. We're trying to come up with drugs that are non-opioid that can help combat the opioid crisis.
I'm Tom McNamara. See you next week.